Hello all, this is Dr. Drake 63 here today to talk to you about short-barreled rifles in 300 blackout. 300 ACC is also known. Today we're going to talk about supersonic. You can see what we're talking about right there. A big fat honkin', oh my gosh, that looks like an AK bullet scenario. It's not. We're going to talk more about this ammo. We're going to talk about this modular build AR-15, and we're going to talk about why we wanted a weapon such as this and put it together in a caliber that would behave very similarly to this. Stay tuned and we'll get into all of it. We're looking at an 8.5-inch Radical Firearms 1-in-8 twist barrel. It's 4150 chromalloy. Has a pistol-length gas tube. It's a micro gas tube. A 7-inch Sequence free float rail, which is very nice for accuracy. Forged upper. It's got the Spikes M16 full auto bolt carrier group. The trigger is a drop-in 4.5-pound POF. Highly recommend these. Kaw Valley linear compensator. We'll talk about that some more. A Palmetto State Armory AR-15 pistol lower is the receiver that we registered this as an SBR with the NFA. Magpul CTR stock. Primary arms, advanced micro dot. I want to talk about that dot. I'm very, very impressed with it. So let's get into it. What first got me interested in the 300 blackout caliber was actually all spurned by the age-old debate, which is better. The AR M16 platform we all know and love. Obviously talking about 223 Remington or 5.6 NATO for that, or the Soviet AK-47, AKM-47 derivative, whatever you have. This one here is Romanian. It always came down to the same thing, to me anyway, was ballistics. Okay, I'm not as interested in hearing about dirt as I am, in the breach, as I am about how hard is the bullet going to hit you when it hits you. And take a look at the similarities in this. Just look at that. 7.62 by 39 on the top, 7.62 by 35 on the bottom. I believe that's a 124 grain projectile on top for the 7.62, and below we're looking at 120 grain. But that was always the big thing. Was, well, which rifle's better, the M16 or the AK-47? Well, in Vietnam and all that kind of stuff, a rifle that had a 15-year head start did perform a lot better than the M16s. Okay, now when we talk in today's world about what is an M16, what is an AR-15, we're talking about this basic device, which is modular in design, has a lower, has an upper, has a barrel attached to it, some kind of handguard, and then you're looking at whatever you're using for sights or optics. In this case, we've got these backup doodads, which actually do a good job. I like them. They're positive. This isn't a rail that heats up at all. So it ends up being these are nice and lightweight for an optic. We'll show some pictures of the evolution of this gun a little bit later. But I want to talk about the caliber as much as talk about this particular weapon. It doesn't have a name. I don't know what to call it, but it doesn't have a name. The Prowler, I don't know. So given that today's modern M4 type of variant, which is what this is in terms of the feed mechanism and everything else, the way everything works, all we're really talking about is a short barrel here, is it. Given that, and the comparison, you know, with these two always being for the longest time, well, the AK is more durable, okay. Let's just say for a minute that that's not a factor. In other words, we don't care if this rifle is going to make it through 2 winters in Pakistan with 2 cleanings. We need something that's going to function specifically for our mission and be very precise and be very powerful. I can tell you right now, between these two, 16-inch carbine barrels, pretty decent accuracy. This thing right here is like shooting at a laser pointer and hitting the same dots all the time. It's crazy. I've been highly impressed. This thing loves to eat anywhere between 110, the Barnes and so forth, up to the 120 grain. And that's what we have. You also notice, and I'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit now, Kaw Valley compensator. What is that? Well, at least I noticed at this length pistol, what I noticed was that it was a little bit flippy. In other words, you'd fire it and it would pop up. And I don't know if that's just because it is a pistol length gas system or what, but I wanted something that was going to actually help keep it down and keep the blast going away from me. And this does a good job of that. Now, it's not going to keep you hidden out, but let's face it, this type of scenario, you're not looking to hide out, probably. You're looking to bug out. You're looking to make a point, whatever. So, and this is nice. This has the CTR stock we all are very familiar with. It's on every. Pretty much on every AR you're going to see these days, and I really have a hard time doing it one-handed, so I'm not going to try. Anyway, so given the opportunity of lugging this thing around all day, or something that this particular steel magazine you see inserted here is actually from Palmetto State Armory. Handles either obviously the 5.56 traditional AR round, or it will handle the 300 blackout, because it's going to use all the same magazine, same bolt carrier group, same everything, just needs a different barrel. Handles P-mags very well, the steel mags. I've got surplus mags that I carry. This is actually some kind of Yugoslavian magazine pouch. I think I think it's for AK-47 magazines. These end up working out right well. I can carry 5 30-rounders in it, and it's handy. I told you I was going to touch on the primary arms microdot, and that's what we're looking at right here. This is meant to be a competitor with an aim point, something of that nature. Very simple in terms of controls. You turn it all the way up or all the way down and off with these top 2 buttons. Your windage and elevation adjustments under these caps, and it takes a standard battery, 50,000 hours battery life. That remains to be seen. I've had this thing on, I want to say, about 5 or 6 months. You're supposed to keep it on right in the middle. It's got 12 settings, keep it on 6, and it claims 50,000 hours battery life, so we'll see. What I'm more interested in is how does this thing do in terms of holding at 0, different kinds of temperatures and things of that nature. So far, so good. It's done a great job. I know for a fact I banged it a couple times pretty good, not on purpose. I can't afford to torture test my stuff, but this mount sits up in a real nice position. It's real easy to do an acquisition on this, and I'm able to consistently ring an 8-inch metal gong at 200 meters with this on a 100-yard 0 with about 6 inches of holdover. So, you know, that's what we're looking at. So, and you could easily 0 this for 200 meters as well. But this is just naked eye stuff. But in terms of just quick acquisition, yeah, this is the way we want to go. Are you able to do the same thing on an AK platform? Of course you can. They've been modernized. There's a whole lot of different places that you can attach a dot scope, but most of them these days, you're looking at you're looking at using that kind of an apparatus to mount some kind of a rail across the top of the dust cover, and then the optic goes on that. Now, I'm just going by what makes sense to me. The more modular you can get like this, the better. You know, this is just going to be a lot inherently more accurate because of the way it's mounted than kind of the workaround that you have here. And don't get me wrong, guys. I am just ass crazy, head over heels in love with AKs. I think they're great guns. But what they aren't is accurate as an M4 platform. Ballistically speaking, these two particular rifles are going to be very similar in what they do. I like to think of these as 30-30 rounds, maybe not quite as much power as a 30-30 actually. But the ability to reach out to 200 meters consistently is what these weapons are clearly designed for. In today's modern combat situation, and in anywhere around my particular castle, anything beyond 200 meters is something that you're not able to see. But in looking at these kind of scenarios, I'm pretty sure that if I decided to do the torture test thing, you know, where hats off to the guys at AK Operators Union, who will put weapons through their paces, and one reason they'll do it is it's not their favorite rifle, and they can only afford to have a few guns. But what you see on this table right here is antithesis of a very, very long time, amount of time of me spent with hands on semi-automatic weapons and learning a lot from people on YouTube, learning a lot by personal experiences, both successes and failures. I guess to kind of wrap it up, talking about 300 Black and talking about this unnamed rifle, which is sitting on top of a Romanian SAR-1, I guess we could give it a name. We'll just call it Dr. Drake's Badass Lucky Charm and leave it at that. Looking forward to having this for years to come. It's been about 2 years that I've owned it. It's been SBR'd for over a year, and I enjoy the heck out of it. I would depend on this in a heartbeat over anything that is in my quote-unquote arsenal. Not because it's the cheapest to shoot, not because it would do the best after a year in a mud puddle, but because I believe in the average circumstance, I'm going to be able to shoot something like this rapid fire or at a slower range of pace, whatever's required, but be able to keep that hand out there, if you will, and giving whomever the stiff arm out past 200 meters. Thanks again for watching, and by all means, please leave your comments. I'd love to know about your experiences with your builds, your opinions on calibers. Thank you.